The Warden has dedicated countless eons to patrolling the forsaken, shadowy corridors of the ancient city. His duty was to safeguard it from intruders and maintain the delicate equilibrium that had allowed the Skulk to flourish in their hidden palace. The passage of time flowed as steadily as the underground rivers, and all seemed harmonious under the Warden's watchful eye. For millennia, he had been the guardian of a city frozen in time. The unwavering protector, ensuring the prosperity and preservation of the enigmatic metropolis that slumbered beneath the world's surface. But the ominous tides of fate were shifting, and an insidious aura of change loomed on the horizon. As on one fateful night, as the Warden undertook his ceaseless patrol along the empty, desolate streets of the ancient city, an unsettling tremor coursed through the very stone and earth around him. He halted, his heart frozen in dread, and he listened out with an otherworldly sense. Then, piercing the silence that held strong for several centuries, he heard it. An ear-piercing buzz erupted from the dormant portal, tearing through the timeless stillness like an unholy incarnation. This was no ordinary disturbance. No, it was a grotesque sound that defied the very nature of the Warden's existence. With an urgency born of a millennia of watchfulness, the Warden tore through the Skulk, his hulking form burrowing a path towards the source of that malevolent sound. His body moved with precision, navigating the arcane pathways of the underground labyrinth. The buzzing grew louder, reverberating through his very essence. It was a symphony of impending doom. At last, he emerged into the eerie glow of the portal's ancient steps. The sounds had reached a deafening pitch, and the Warden summoned his powers. And so, in a thunderous explosion, he released his sonic boom, a weapon forged from the dark energies he had harnessed over eons. But, to his astonishment, there was no impact, no satisfying collision with his target. The enigma deepened. The Warden's senses a paradoxical fusion of awareness and obscurity honed in on the epicenter of that sound. And then a glow emerged, and the Warden, with no eyes, could somehow see it. And from that demonic radiance emerged a creature born of darkness and evil incarnate. Its malevolence seeped from its very pores, shrouding it in an aura of dread and mystery. From the Warden's unique perspective, that creature was a sinister monster. Its form was cloaked in shadows that clung to it like a sinister tapestry, and its eyes burned with a demonic, otherworldly red. That creature's ominous presence cast a menacing shadow over the Warden's cherished home, threatening the delicate equilibrium that he had safeguarded for untold millennia. And so, he wasted no time as the Warden surged forward as he launched into a ferocious assault against this newfound adversary. But the moment that he laid his hands upon the creature's sinister form, it unleashed a blinding white light, a storm of brilliance that defied his very nature. In Inexplicably, the Warden could see this intense radiance, even though he possessed no eyes, nor the capacity to perceive light. It was an assault on his senses that left him reeling, lost in a realm of blinding illumination. As the overwhelming light subsided, the Warden's perception began to stabilize. But by then, that strange creature was nowhere to be seen. It had vanished, leaving behind an eerie stillness in its wake. Yet, in that moment, something profound had changed, as that Warden, well, he could see again. The Warden, compelled by a newfound curiosity and a gnawing sense of unease, made his way to a nearby puddle, and he gazed upon his own reflection for the first time in countless eons. But what he saw shocked him. His once shrouded form, a fusion of obsidian and shadow, had transformed into pure whiteness. It was a concerning revelation, as he couldn't help but feel that he was different once upon a time. And so, the passing of millennia must have played tricks on his memory. Or perhaps the relentless solitude had eroded his recollection. Now, with his world forever altered by the presence of that malevolent entity, the Warden was left to grapple with an identity that felt like a distant memory, a spectral echo of what he once was. And so, with this newfound vision, the Warden embarked on a breathtaking exploration of the long-lost city that he had defended for millions of years. It was a realm that had remained hidden from his senses for eons, and the revelation of what he was seeing was nothing short of astonishing. The meticulously crafted corridors, bathed in a ghostly luminescence, stretched in intricate patterns before him. The flickering candles, which had long served as his only source of comfort within the darkness, now radiated a soft, mesmerizing glow. The lava, once shrouded in obscurity, erupted in a brilliant, fiery display, casting dancing shadows across the ancient stones. The subscribe button, once a prominent part of the city when it was thriving, now lay on the carpeted floors, isolated and ignored. Even the dormant portal, the epicenter of the earlier disturbance, was now revealed in all of his mystic greatness, a celestial gateway that beckoned him with untold secrets. Yet, the Warden's newfound sense had not stopped with vision alone, as his hearing had sharpened to a supernatural degree, and his sense of smell was also heightened even further. And so, with these enhancements, he became acutely aware of a distant, ominous resonance. It was the unmistakable war cries of a village in the distance. They were advancing, a formidable force with a singular, menacing objective. They were clearly coming to invade this land. Well, that's what the Warden thought. And so, in a whirlwind of determination, the Warden delved deep into the skulk, an ancient, pulsating network of shadows and secrets, leaving a path of corruption in his wake, as he wove a serpentine trail, snaking its way towards the villagers, whom, at this point, had drawn ominously close to his city. Now, They were a mere few thousand blocks away, but were clearly advancing into the heart of his home. And so, as the sun bore down upon the world, bathing it in a golden light, the White Warden descended upon the villagers like an avenging monster. His assault was nothing short of brutal, a relentless onslaught that unfolded with terrifying efficiency. In mere minutes, the hapless villagers lay in the ruins of their own making, their pitiful cries silenced, their lives extinguished. But the aftermath of that massacre left the Warden standing amidst a sea of carnage. And then, as he surveyed their desolation, his attention was drawn to the surface of the world. A place he had been estranged from for millennia. The world above was amazing, as it was covered by the sun's warm rays, and lush landscapes stretched as far as the eye could see. A paradisical realm, untouched by the corruption that enveloped the skulk. For the first time in eons, the Warden felt a sense of longing, a desire to venture beyond the depths and into the surface world. And with his newfound purpose, he knew that this magnificent world, bathed in sunlight, was ripe for the insidious corruption of the skulk. A prospect that filled him with a chilling sense of satisfaction. And so, with his newfound vision, the White Warden's journey through the world was remarkably effortless, as he traversed the expanse, corrupting millions of blocks under the malevolent curse of the skulk. The once pristine landscapes transformed into eerie, shadowy remnants, every inch of them tainted by the creeping darkness. But as he ventured deeper into the world, especially when entering villages, the White Warden began to detect a sinister pattern. From several hundred blocks away, he observed a sudden and inexplicable panic amongst the villagers. They scurried about in apparent distress, their actions erratic, their eyes perpetually scratched, as if tormented by unseen pain. But over time, the collective panic gave way to a semblance of order, as they helped one another through their shared torment and pain. And yet, as he drew closer to the villages, something profound and very strange occurred. As the very moment that his presence was revealed to them, the villagers plunged back into a frenzied hysteria, gripped by an inexplicable terror that defied reason. The White Warden, observing this macabre dance of horror, began to piece together the dreadful truth. The villagers weren't terrified of him, necessarily, but rather the curse of their ever-transforming vision. Because upon the Warden seeing them, the villagers' eyes metamorphosized into an eerie mirror of his own sight. Pure whiteness, devoid of texture. An alien and disorienting expanse that obliterated the vibrancy and the depth that they knew and were used to. The realization struck him like a sinister revelation. Their fear was not a reaction to him. It was a reaction to the torment of their own senses. And so, With this newfound knowledge, the Warden hatched a chilling plan to capitalize on their weakness and to sow even greater suffering onto the world, and to hopefully magnify the power of the skull. The villagers, unwitting pawns in this dark symphony, would become instruments of their own torment, and the world would spiral deeper into the chaos under the shadows of his malevolence. As the White Warden continued his unholy campaign, he grew ever more methodical in his approach. His sinister intent was to maximize the villagers' torment, and he knew that patience was a cruel ally. With measured strides, he crept into those suffering villages at a snail's pace, drawing out their panic to an excruciating extent. The once peaceful villages erupted in chaos at his approach, their souls spiraling into further dread, their eyes unaccustomed to the ghastly whiteness that enveloped their visions, widened in sheer terror. The Warden, an ancient master of the art of fear, had become accustomed to this eerie, bleached sight over countless travels, and by the fact that he had nothing to compare this sight to. And so, while the villagers were caught in a storm of a nightmarish transformation, the White Warden savoured his newfound advantage, relishing the upper hand he held over these hopeless villagers. Their suffering had become a malevolent echo, a symphony of fear orchestrated by this evil monster. The Warden cruelly offered them false glimmers of hope, brief moments of respite from their torment, only to snatch it away from them with ruthless efficiency. His actions were nothing short of brutal and barbaric, his malevolence unrelenting as he ended their lives one by one. Each village bore witness to the same horrifying sequence: panic, fleeting hope, and then a brutal and merciless end. And as the Skulk's influence spread like a plague under the lead of the White Warden, thousands of villages fell under his ominous shadow, and he reveled in the growing dread, a dark deity overseeing the twisted transformation of a world on the brink of despair. Nothing nor no one seemed capable of halting his relentless march towards a reign of terror across the universe. But amidst the relentless spread of corruption and despair, a jarring vision pierced the White Warden's consciousness. He saw that red-eyed monster, the very entity that bestowed him with this eerie, newfound sight. Fear crept into the Warden's being, for the sight of that creature filled him with an unfamiliar dread. Instinctively, he lashed out at that vision, launching a ferocious assault, his powerful sonic booms echoing through the depths. Yet, to his astonishment, his attacks proved futile. The sonic boom, a weapon forged from the abyss of his existence, rebounded, thwarted by an unknown force. His once unwavering power was rendered impotent in the face of this enigmatic adversary. The White Warden was left in a state of bewildered confusion. How did this happen? He grappled with the inexplicable, left to ponder the mysteries that encircled his existence. The red-eyed monster, once a mere vision, vanished as abruptly as it had appeared, leaving the Warden disoriented and perplexed. Still, the relentless march of the Skulk's malevolence could not be halted by a mere vision, and so, even with this growing sense of unease gnawing at his soul, the Warden chose to ignore this enigma and to instead press onwards as he continued to sow the seeds of corruption, spreading his domain over the world's countless blocks, an unrelenting force of darkness and dread. The Skulk's domain expanded relentlessly, and nothing could impede its insidious growth. Not even the vision of the red-eyed monster that haunted the Warden's thoughts would stop him. However, that will not prove to be the case very soon, because as the White Warden journeyed through the snow-covered expanse of the taiga, ready to unleash his malevolence onto its serene beauty, he was abruptly assaulted by another vision of that red-eyed monster. This time, the apparition held a chilling clarity, lingering in his mind for a fleeting but haunting second. The creature's image was etched into his very soul, with an intensity that struck terror into his spectral heart. But the vision was gone as swiftly as it had arrived, leaving the Warden once again with an impending sense of dread and foreboding that weighed heavily upon him. And then a compulsion, an inexplicable urge surged through his shadowy form. He felt driven to construct a grim monument, a sinister beacon amidst the frozen wilderness. And so he set to work, building pillars of stone in a grotesque circle, while placing sinister red candles along the frigid ground. At the center, a grotesque circle of evil blackstone was placed, its ominous presence a manifestation of the malevolence that he harbored. It was a macabre creation, a testament to the darkness that coursed through his very being. But at the moment that the monument neared completion, a chorus of anguished cries assaulted his senses. It was the collective suffering of every being touched by his corruption. A symphony of pain and torment that surged towards him. The deafening cries grew louder with each passing moment, reverberating through the Skulk's network of malevolence. Millions of Skulk blocks converged upon him, the very essence of their agony manifesting as a catastrophic force. The White Warden, overwhelmed by the impending implosion of malevolent energy, shut his eyes, bracing himself for the cataclysmic conversion. The very world he had sought to corrupt now turned against him as he stood at the epicenter of an apocalypse. As the White Warden opened his eyes, a surreal sensation washed over him. He found himself suspended high above the world, a spectral entity adrift in the boundless expanse of the heavens. But before him, the enigmatic white-cloaked monster materialized once more, a haunting and imposing presence. The creature whispered two ominous words that reverberated through the void, chilling the Warden to his very core.
No freedom.
And then a sinister transformation began. The monster started to radiate a dark, malevolent red aura that grew increasingly intense with each passing second, almost like the subscribe button. It swirled and surged, enveloping the Warden in its ominous embrace, surrounding him in a shroud of nightmarish crimson. Suddenly, the Warden found himself back at the sinister monument that he had created. But the agony that he was suffering through was unbearable, as millions of scope blocks clung to him, entwining him in their torment. Their suffering converged upon him, a relentless storm of despair and pain, clouding his once unyielding mind. The White Warden, trapped in this nightmarish curse, grappled with an existential crisis. His quest to dominate the world had led him to the edge of darkness, and he was now entangled with the very malevolence that he had sown. The harrowing vision, the cryptic message, the suffocating pain left him all in a state of profound turmoil as he stood on the brink of his own annihilation. Amidst the chaos and torment, as the White Warden struggled against the suffocating grip of the skulk and the weight of the suffering that he had unleashed, an unexpected intervention took place as, out of the abyss, a strange, luminous creature, bathed in a vivid yellow glow, materialized with an otherworldly presence. With an almost divine gesture, this mysterious being held a colossal red crystal towards the Warden. The crystal struck him with an irresistible force, and in an instant, he was absorbed into its scarlet core. Along with him, the pain that plagued the world, and the memories of that pain that he had inflicted were all drawn into the crystalline heart of that red object, as if a cosmic vacuum had swept the malevolence away. In a blinding flash, they became one. They were imprisoned together, locked in an eternal and spectral union. The world, relieved of the burden of his malevolence, bore no memory of his existence, as the red crystal absorbed every moment of his dark legacy. This was it. The White Enderman was no more, and the world was free. However, that is not the end of this story. No. And so, to learn what happened next, you'll need to watch this video.